Hello, myRockworld. I'm sitting here in Munich in a cafe with Doyle Bramhall for an exclusive interview. Hello, Doyle. Welcome to myRockworld.
How you doing? Nice to be here.
Doyle, first of all, congrats to your great new album called Rich Man. Please tell us something about the new album, the musicians involved, and also how did the songs come together?
It had been 15 years since I had made an album, and I'd been working with Eric Clapton and Roger Waters and Sheryl Crow and other artists for so long, for that 15 years, and then I started producing after that. So that's really where my attention was focused. But I just felt like about 2 years ago, I felt like that I needed to make my own music, and I was also starting to tour more on my own, and I just felt like I didn't have any music that represented what I do now from 15 or 17 years later after I'd made my last album, that didn't really represent what I was about now, because I had lived so much life and heard so much music and been inspired by and influenced that I wanted to really have a record that represented what I'm doing now. So I just made the decision to go in and start writing from scratch in the studio and just record and see what happened. And it took about a year and 4 months to make the record, but I was also touring between. And so I ended up with Rich Man, and it seemed like it was the perfect sort of musical album that represented what my life was, and my spiritual journey, my life.
So you just started writing songs in the studio, or did you collect it over the last 15 years? Or
No, I wrote for the last 15 years, but I've always been the type of artist that likes to create in the moment. Mm-hmm. I like what music represents for that time period, and a lot of the older songs that I had written I just didn't have the same experience with them as I did when I wrote them. So I wanted to have something that was as up to date and present in my life, because music for me, music always scores what my life is. Yep. And if I'm focusing on music that's scoring my life 10 years ago, it's not as relevant to me. And it's just me, because other people aren't that way necessarily, but that's the way I've always been. So I would write the songs as I went in. So for instance, Your Mama Can't Help You on the record, I wrote that the day that I went in to record it. I wrote awesome. The song Harmony. Yeah. I wrote the day that I went in, and there were other ones that I would write, and then I would come back to 2 months later and just keep writing until they were finished. But
that's awesome. There's a Jimi Hendrix cover song on that album called "Hear My Train." Were there other cover songs on the list, and why did you choose "Hear My Train"?
There were not other cover songs on the record, or I wasn't planning on recording any other covers. I did that sort of by accident, because my manager had asked me if I could record that, because I had been doing it live on this Jimi Hendrix tribute concert series and tour. So I had been doing that song, and he really liked it. But we decided, because I was in the studio with my band already, so we could just do like 2 takes and be done with it. But so anyway, we recorded that song along with the other songs on Rich Man. And at the end, when I was sequencing the album, after the last song played, that song came on as a bonus track. But it really felt like, when I heard it, that it was actually bringing the whole record full circle to where everything began for me, which was the blues. And it all started for me with blues and Jimi Hendrix, and so I thought it was a cool way to end the record by bringing it full circle.
Okay. Do you have? I know the whole album is really great, but do you have any personal favorite song on the album which goes very much to your heart, maybe? Or
well, I think that the two most personal songs for me, probably, or at least harder things to talk about, are Harmony and November, because November was about my father who had passed away, and my unspoken words to him, that I was basically speaking to him in the lyric of that song. And then the other one was Harmony, which was about my daughter, and I'd gone through sort of a really hard divorce and separation from my kids and stuff. So that was a conversation that I had never been able to have with my daughter, but I wanted to say it to her.
Okay. What can we expect from the show tonight? From the set list, will you also play maybe some songs from the Archangels area?
Probably not the Archangels. I don't really have so much of a connection with that music anymore.
Okay.
We do mostly Rich Man, but we do some songs off of Welcome too, like 2 or 3 or 4, depending on. We try and change up the shows, every couple days.
So there's no fixed set list. You always change it.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a core set list that we work from, and there's songs that we definitely want in the set all the time, but we change them.
Okay, great. What advice would you give young kids starting out playing music?
I guess the thing that always comes to mind is, if you get inspiration from your influences and to learn from the people that inspire you most and the best at their craft, and then to take your influences and basically once you have your influences, to then leave that and see what your own voice is and try and find what your own voice is, because nobody can really express things the way that another person can. That's what makes everybody special, like a thumbprint or a snowflake, is that you're the only one that can say it the way that you say it. So I think that's most important, is finding what your own voice is, so to speak.
Okay. Coming back to your heroes, we know Jimi Hendrix is a very huge hero of yours, but who were in general some other heroes maybe you can point out?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious heroes would be my father, because I grew up listening and playing with him, and also Stevie Ray Vaughan, who I grew up with, and he was like a brother to me. But Jimmy Vaughan, who was also like another father to me. And Denny Freeman, all the other people that I grew up with listening to from Texas, from Austin music scene, were all, they were all my influences and heroes growing up. So I think I was most inspired by them. Other than, because I got to see them all firsthand, and they were there in front of me. So that's what I grew up around. And I think it's not really an average kind of upbringing for a child, to be brought up with all these, iconic kind of musicians. And
how do you feel if someone's saying that you are my hero on playing guitar?
Oh, I was just flattered, I guess, I'm always surprised by it, but flattered. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to...
Strange feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's surprising every time, but I'm just, honored that people would respect my music or listen or have that kind of connection with my music on a deep level.
Doyle, you have worked with lots of great musicians, Roger Waters, Sheryl Crow, Eric Clapton. Is there still someone you would love to wish one day I would like to work with this?
Well, I mean, the two people that I think, well, there are 3 people that I grew up listening to that most influenced my songwriting, and I think that was the Beatles, Paul McCartney, also Stevie Wonder, and Sly Stone. So, I mean, I don't know. I would love to do something with McCartney. Just that would be a sort of a dream, come true. But also doing something with Stevie Wonder as well would be really cool on a level, And Sly Stone, I don't know how possible that would be, but that would be cool. I mean, that would be the most dream-like thing for me.
Have you tried to reach out to them?
No, I mean, fortunately I've gotten to work with Paul on Eric record, and also I played with Paul McCartney on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame concert. So that was actually dreamy. And there's another one, Bill Withers would be another guy that would be a dream for me to work with at some point.
That's awesome. Last two questions. Please tell us some secrets about yourself that nobody knows. Maybe it could be a funny tour bus secret or... Jesus. No problem if you just pass.
Yeah, I mean, a secret.
What you're having for breakfast or...
Okay. Well, I would say that I probably carry more bags than anybody else I've ever known on tour, because I like eating like all organic foods and all paleo foods, and usually it's stuff I can't find out on the road. Not so much here in Europe, especially in Germany, because if you go to a truck stop in Germany, they have the best salad bar ever. Like, it's the freshest food.
Yeah.
You don't see that in the States. But normally, like, I carry a lot of weird foods. I have a lot of, like, primal culture foods and just odd foods that you can't find anywhere. And so I just basically live out of my bags, eating my food, because
you don't have problems crossing over the border with these foods.
Well, sometimes I'll just wait to stock up until I get to the first city on tour.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes.
At least some words to your fans, please.
What's that?
Some words to your fans, please.
Please be kind to each other. No. So the fans of Germany, or just the fans?
Just the fans of yours. Because it's going around the world.
Right. Yeah, I'm just really happy to be playing these songs on this record, Rich Man, out on the road, and I'm really happy to and fortunate to be playing with the band as great as my band is. Adam Minkoff, Anthony Cole, Ted Pecchio, and we're playing this music as a four-piece band, and making sounds that sounds like an eight-piece band, but they were able to make as a four-piece band. And I'm just truly just fortunate and grateful that they're out here with me and that we get to play this album for all the people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Doyle, for this interview.